Hey everyone, it's Duncan here, and today we're back with HeadRush to take a look at how we can go about dialing in 3 different types of high gain guitar tones using the Revalver 5 plugin. Basically, we're going to be looking into 3 preset patches that I've created and how they should give you everything that you need to get started with a high gain guitar tone. So before we dive into creating our preset patches, let's first understand what a high gain guitar tone is all about. High gain guitar tones are normally characterized by their heavy distortion and powerful sound, making them perfect for genres like metal and hard rock. To really achieve that signature sound, we need to pay attention to a few crucial factors. These will be things like gain staging, EQ, and amp and cab models. So let's start by hearing my first preset patch. This is going to be a great foundation for any chordal or chug-in style riff. So the first patch is called Chuggy SLO Riffage, and it features the HeadRush version of the SLO 100 amplifier featured on Revalver 5. So what I've done here is I've kept everything fairly standard. I really do love the SLO style tone for just getting a great foundation high gain tone. But EQ wise and settings wise on the amp, this is what I've done. So gain, we're pushed at about kind of 7-8 on the amp. This is where I found that it was a nice kind of chug-in style riff, but it wasn't overly saturated. Also, we've got more gain staging coming up. EQ wise, I've brightened up the overall guitar tone by pushing the treble. Mids, we've scooped back. This is just to generally tighten up our overall guitar mix. Bass is just boosted just to kind of compensate for how bright we kind of went. And then master and presence, we've kept that fairly the same. In front of the amp, I've got a couple things. What we've got here first is just a noise gate. This is just to tame any unwanted noise coming from the high gain pickups. Next, I've also got an 8-band EQ pedal. What I've done here is I'm basically just taming some of the low end, which is coming from this, tightening up that overall sound again, and then boosting the highs. What I've also done is I've used this as a great clean boost to go into the front end of the SLO. This is acting as like a nice gain stage before going into the SLO 100 amplifier. Behind the amp, I've just kept everything fairly simple as well. I have added another EQ pedal on here, just taming some of those mids once again. And then also I've added a touch of reverb on there, just a little bit in the mix, just to create some kind of spatial depth to our overall tone. Next up, we've got a preset called SLO Lead Boost, which is going to be a great foundation for any kind of solo or lead lines that you might want to have. So what I've done for this preset patch is I've kept it fairly similar to our previous one. What I've done here is I've scooped all the mids away just to tighten up our overall guitar tone. I've dropped back on the treble, but the main thing here is adding this tube screamer to the front end. This is ultimately boosting our initial gain stage and helping us achieve that solo saturation that we want. Behind the amp, we've kept everything pretty much the same as before, but what I've done now is I've kicked in a air delay, and also I've increased the saturation or mix control, we could call it, of our reverb on here. This is generally creating a great spatial and ambient depth to the background of our solo tone. Lastly, we have one of my favorite preset patches, which this one is a high gain ambient kind of tone. So this is perfect for any intro or any kind of chordal style sequence that you might be wanting to play. Okay, so for this preset patch, we're using the same SLO that we used in our previous ones, but the main difference here is the gain control has been taken all the way down. Now, what I'm wanting with this tone is I'm wanting the articulation and also clarity of each of the notes to come through, but still providing some kind of broken up guitar tone that really sounds pleasing to the ears and also adds a little bit of character than just a standard clean guitar tone. I have also increased the overall mix of delay and reverb as seen here, and this is basically just to create a great bed of ambience behind those chordal tones. It's also worth mentioning that all of these preset patches will be available to download in the description below. All you have to do is download the latest version of Revalver 5, and then these preset patches are going to be ready to just drop straight into your project. So now that we've looked at all of our preset patches, one thing which I really do want to mention is, especially when creating a high gain guitar tone, is that amp cabinets, especially in Revalver 5, make a big difference. When creating these preset patches, I initially tried quite a few combinations of amp cabinets and microphone setups. And the best one that I found to use on Revalver 5 is I set up this splitter tool here at the bottom. And on the left, I've got the HeadRush 2x12 B30 with a dynamic 57. And then on the other side, I've got a 2x12 B30 ribbon 121. Soloed, this is what each cabinet should sound like, and also show you what kind of tonal qualities they're bringing to the overall sound. So to wrap things up, I'm just going to play through the preset patches a couple more times and also just show you a little bit of what riffs and also playing styles these preset patches might work best with. So there you go. That's my personal take on how I would use Revalver 5 to get those high gain guitar solo and riff style tones. I hope you've learned something new or found some inspiration to go create your own high gain presets. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. We've got more content coming up in the future. Thanks for watching. As always, I've been Duncan and I'll see you all in the next one.